Hello, everyone. There's been a request to of me to say a few things about the final exam from someone who had to miss the last live session. So I thought might as well reiterate for those of you who were at the live session and share this with you. Don't have that much to say. First of all, here are the instructions for the exam. These are, I would say, short essay answer or short answer questions. They're not multiple choice or true and false. And they don't ask you to actually write an essay where you develop an idea. It's really a reading knowledge exam. And as I say here, all of these questions can be properly answered in the space of 1 to 2 paragraphs each. So that's a matter of judgment on your part. There's no 1 paragraph or 2 paragraph requirement. You just need to answer the question. And I think that the more confident you are about the material, the less direction you need in terms of what your answers should look like. You're just responding to the question. So, like any final exam, you have to use your judgment. What would be an adequate response? I'm just giving you a sense of, I'm not looking for, a long essay answer in response to each of these questions. And they are direct questions, I would say. And that is, you want to answer them directly. And my best advice about that is try to answer the question that's actually asked. You always get responses in exams to questions in which students say things about the reading. And I guess it's, and in the case of a lot of students, that's the best they can do. They tell you what they know about the reading. And it's correct, but it's not an answer to the question that was actually asked. I think this is natural. Again, the more confident you feel about the material, the more the question is going to make sense to you, and the clearer it's going to be to you how it should be answered. But I would, just give you the sort of common sense advice to think about the question. I mean, try to answer that question. I mean, do your best. It's an exam. I mean, you want to do your best with what you've got. But really, you want to pay attention to the question that's actually asked and really try to respond to that question. Do not use quotations from the readings or from any other source. Boy, that's all caps. That wasn't very nice of me, but I'm really trying to put that in there. Is that this is basically a take-home exam, an at-home exam. You obviously have access to the texts. So giving me a quotation from the text is not really what I'm looking for. It's actually not what I'm looking for at all. I'm looking for what comes next. Your answers must be in your own words. In a final exam or any exam in a class in the humanities like this, whether it's a philosophy class, a religion class, a literature class, a history class, what you're looking for at the end is that your students can talk intelligently about the things that you've studied. And that really does mean putting the ideas, putting the problems, putting the concepts in their own words. Doesn't mean you can't borrow the vocabulary of the readings. Of course you can. That's fine. But you want to get across to your teacher that, yeah, I know what I'm talking about here, and here's my response. So just putting up a quotation, even if it's an apt, appropriate quotation, is really not what you want to do. What you want to do is to answer the question in your own words. Okay, so and again, you have 2 hours to do it, and the way that I think of exams given like this on the internet is I pretty much structure them the same way I would an in-class final exam, where students just are sitting there with a piece of paper and just write answers. I mean, you should really pursue it that way, I think, rather than think you have to have something that's totally polished. What your teacher really wants to know is, does this question make sense to you? Can you respond to it in an adequate way? And So again, there's no reason to use quotations, brief quotations or borrowing the language, the words, technical vocabulary of the author here and there is fine. But, you want to, it's as if you're sitting down to a in-class final. And right, responding to the questions in the way that's most natural to you. You know what you're talking about, right? Okay. So the exam will range over everything we've read. I think there's one question. There's at least one question about everything that we read, and maybe exactly one. So that's what you're really thinking. So you're taking a comprehensive final exam. So where do you start doing that? Well, I mean, you've been working for 3 months on this course, so you're not starting from nothing. But it may do good to go back to the beginning, take a look at the course outline. What were we talking about here? There's essentially 5 parts of the course. So, it's a place to start. The readings are grouped together. The readings that I judge to have common themes, especially the first 4 sections of the course, definitely have common themes, address common problems, really speak to each other, you might say. Really, the part 5 too, especially the Gustafson, the Lewis. I'm only qualifying that because the Schultz is a little different, as you know. Don't forget about that 5th essay. Let's do on the 12th, okay? Right. Okay, we know that. So yeah, going back to the course outline. And then what do you do? Well, I mean, reminding ourselves, what do we do in this course? There's a video overviewing the course about the themes of the course. That might help too. Well, one of the things that we obviously is an online course that was structured in a certain way, and it was very heavy on videos, right? These impromptu videos that I make talking about the readings, and then there's the readings, this is really the material we start with, the readings, and then I try to make videos that are helpful. So how would I study for this exam? Well, I mean, it's a lot of material. Don't get me wrong. Again, if we were starting from nothing, not having read this and studied this stuff and talked about it for 3 months, it would be crazy. But it's not, because we're in a different place than we were back in August, right? But anybody, any teacher advising students how to study for the final exam, well, we had readings. The final exam is based on the readings. So do the readings, which means redo the readings, look over the readings. That would be how could we not do that? But in this course, you have videos for every reading. Videos in which I do my best. I mean, however helpful it actually ends up being, I don't know, to help you read these more profitably. So I think that you want to make use of these videos in preparing for the final exam. I mean, there's a lot of videos, right? Just like there's a lot of readings, and it may be unreasonable to rewatch all the videos. I don't know. But I think the videos are helpful, as I said before, insofar as I'm your teacher. I'm composing the final exam. The videos are a reflection of my thinking about the readings that will be on the final exam. So using the videos in conjunction with the readings, because of course, when I make a video on a reading, I don't talk about all and everything that's in the reading. I emphasize those things which I think are essential. So I'm not checking against the videos when I make up the final exam questions, but it just stands to reason that the kind of things that I talk about in the videos will be the kind of things that will show up in the final exam. So yes, there are all of these videos that I put up in the modules, and there are more videos. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of videos, right? I mean, because not only did I do the videos for that I pre-prepared for each reading, I did the review videos, I think. Didn't I do that for this class? Gosh, I'm losing my sense of time and space and everything else. Did videos where I talked about the essays. That they might not be they may not be bad things to look at, actually, right? Discussion videos, overview videos, um, you know, so discussion board review, videos and questions. I mean, I mean, so there's a lot of material you can make use of to study for the final exam. I would think that, again, we're not starting from nothing. So I would say, everybody's in a different place, though, in terms of how confident they feel in grasping each one of the readings. But that's where you should be with each reading. I mean, we never know exactly what kind of question is going to come up on a final exam about something that we've read. So there's can always be surprises. But what I've tried to do is to confine the final exam questions to points that I think are just really essential, so that if a student couldn't really respond and talk about that subject, that element of the reading, then they really didn't get a firm grasp of it. I'm not trying to be esoteric or look into little corners of the reading that we didn't really talk about or I didn't emphasize in videos. I just naturally wrote questions in the same way that I would talk about a reading in a video. So yeah, I mean, you have to. I would say that you want to make use of the material that's here, and you want to feel. I suppose to some degree you want to feel like you have a grasp of the course as a whole, and so going back to again the course outline, maybe even looking over the course overview, might be a good place to start. Good luck, everyone. Just an exam.